Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Daily Stand-Up for Thursday. I'm going to start off with my standard stand-up check items, and then we can end the official stand-up. And if you're interested, I'm going to have a quick after meeting, a la Kanban, to talk about some sort of bigger picture things about the board that I'm discovering this week. But if you're just here for the yesterday, today blocked items, we're going to cover those. And then you can shut the video off if you want, or continue watching if you want to hear me vent a little bit. So, you may notice that my today column looks much as it did yesterday during stand-up, which is unfortunate. The issue is that this is a really important project, doing my slides for my next presentation. And yesterday when I was working on it, I realized that it was not as good as it could be. The script was spending way too much time on sort of anecdotes and not enough time on really solid, actionable information. And I hate it when people do that in presentations, and I don't want to be that presenter. So I ended up cutting and reworking a lot of the talk, which I'm happy that I did, but it took up a lot of the day, and it's still not finished. So, like I said earlier this week, this is my top priority. It needs to get finished because I need to be able to start running through it every single day next week so that I'm really comfortable with the talk before I go give it in New York in 2 weeks. So, that's been a challenging thing for me because having all this stuff out here is definitely existential overhead for me. So yesterday, basically I worked on this and I did some quick research on podcasting stuff. More about that in my after meeting, but those are really the only two things I actually completed yesterday, aside from my recurring tasks of, LinkedIn, Twitter, manage Flitter, and stand-up. So I did get those recurring tasks done, but between phone call and lunch meeting and a couple of, I guess those were really the only things, and then working on the slides, that was about it that got done yesterday. So today I am hoping to spend a good amount of time this afternoon working on this. This morning, I have an article that needs to get done for the Agile Marketer, so it can go out for the subscribers. And then the rest of these things are all pretty minor items that I'm hoping could each be knocked out in 15 to 20 minutes. So those are, I'm hoping, going to be sort of, I need a mental break from these other sort of big items, and then I can tackle those smaller things in those blocks of time. So that's yesterday, today, no major blocks, and we'll stop regular daily stand-up there. So, after meeting. For those of you unfamiliar with the concept, an after meeting is what happens sometimes at the end of a Kanban daily stand-up, where people who are working on projects together sometimes put their heads together in sort of an impromptu stand-up to talk about projects. You're not really working on a project with me necessarily, although you kind of are if you're in the scrum of one. Anyway, I would just want to create some space for myself to talk about what's going on, and it bothers me a lot that these cards didn't move much in the last day and a half. And I want to take sort of a kaizen moment here and think about what opportunity for continuous improvement am I seeing in this sort of dysfunction. I don't want to let it slip away while I'm not, and then not think about it and forget what's going on right now. So, here's what I think is going on. One of the things is that this is a huge project, and it's turned out to be bigger and more time consuming than I had originally anticipated when I pulled it from the backlog. Usually I'm pretty quick with making slide decks. This is a new format for me, these 18-minute TED Talk style things. And so it's forced me to tighten things up even more than I normally would. I'm not much of a rambler when I talk, but I've had to really they say shorter talks are actually much harder to prepare for, and I totally believe that now. But it's really kind of thrown a wrench in my week because of the amount of time it's demanding from me. And then I've still got, I had a piece of client work that I had to do earlier this week, and then I want to do my weekly article for the Agile Marketer and send it out to my subscribers because I love you guys and I love all the stuff that I get to do on the Agile Marketer. So I don't ever want to let that slip, even though it would be easy to do that. That's one of the reasons why I love this process, is because it helps me keep things out in front of me and visualized about what's coming up. But that's not working right now because things are still stalling out, and I really don't know what I'm going to do to fix it at this point. I don't want to fall into the trap of just moving cards, right? Of just following that sort of siren song of being done with something, even though it's not great. That's not the goal of this project either. I don't want to move this over just to feel like I finished it, even if I'm not happy with the outcome. So yeah, it's just a little bit of a vent session from me here. If you're watching and you have any suggestions or you've encountered a problem like this, I'd be delighted to hear from you how you've handled it. I think another problem is that I've gotten very shiny object lately, which I've told you before is a flaw of mine. I'm prey to the fear of missing out that many marketers experience. I hear everybody talking about podcasting and Snapchat and all these cool things, and I'd like to do them and I'd like to try them, and I want to do that eventually, but I'm realizing that I need to pull myself back and focus in on what I know and what I can do really well, and that before I start diversifying, I should first try and double down on my strengths, and my strengths are writing right now, and to a lesser extent, video. I'm pretty good with producing these videos. I like talking to you guys, but anything that I have to edit, I'm hosed. It takes me forever. So I think I just need to double down on the content production right now and find some new places where I can share my ideas and find some new readers and just kind of do more with what I know and make sure that I've kind of squeezed that lemon for all the juice it's got before I start trying to chase something new. And that's something that I think is even more important when you're on your own, like most of us are who are in this group, because there's no swarming opportunity. I can't pull the rest of my team in and say, you guys, I'm really struggling with getting this article out. Can somebody help me? Can somebody help me do the research? Can somebody else create the image? Can we put our heads together and knock this out in an afternoon? There's nobody here to do that for me or with me. It's just me. So I need to focus. So thanks for listening if you're still here dealing with all this with me. But I think those are two things that I need to do. So focus down and double down on my strengths as opposed to trying to spread myself too thin, even if it means not doing some cool stuff that I'd like to be doing yet. And then the other thing is to not get caught up in the temptation to move cards for the sake of moving cards. Maintain a commitment to quality while I'm still completing projects. And I've learned a lot through this project. I'm going to go ahead and star this for my retro too, because it's going to change the way I think about the next slide deck that I have to make. Okay, I think that's all. That's enough therapy for today. Yeah, like I said, if you have any suggestions or ideas, I would love to hear them in the comments or hit me up on the forum or you can always find me at Andrea at theagilemarketer.net. And yes, may your week be more productive than mine. And I'll see you guys tomorrow.